Go ahead and put the order this special board meeting for the Southern Healthcare District Board of Directors. President Ken, Gary, Rich, and myself. And Kelly, can you hear us on?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, let's go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item number 2, additions or modifications to or deletions from the agenda. I would like to request that we move item number 9, which is the New Federal Access Hospital Skilled Nursing Facility Board updates, general update report, to just after our public comment period. Any objection to that? Oh, okay. Then with that, I will accept a motion to approve the agenda with that modification.
I move we approve the agenda with that modification.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Shelley?
Aye.
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. So that moves us into our public comment period. We didn't receive anything ahead of time by email or letter or anything like that. Anyone in the room or online have a public comment to make? Or on the phone?
No hands.
Okay, then I'd just like to note that as part of public comment that our filing period closed on Friday for our board seats, and all 4 of our board members filed, and there were no other people who filed, so just want to make everyone aware of that, so thank you. And thank you, board members, for doing that, because that really helps ensure our consistency of our.
Yeah, very important.
And make sure our
for the
credit
next few
report.
years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. All right, with that, seeing no, hearing no other public comment requests, I'd like to move into number 9, which is our update for our critical access hospital facility. Donna or Sean, whenever you want to take this?
I think Donna's on there.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have the good news that USDA did provide the approval to move forward with the general contractor's contract, and that contract has been signed by both Sean and the general contractor. It is currently in the USDA's hands for official signature of concurrence. And as that is all happening, Monley Hamlin DesCorps JV is ramping up to and getting ready to mobilize. So pending notice to proceed that requires a couple more steps inclusive of that concurrence from USDA, the attorney's certification, and receipt of all bonds and insurance. That's when we can issue the notice to proceed that is also with USDA right now for their review of the verbiage within the notice to proceed, so that we can issue that document to Monley Hamlin DesCorps and have them mobilized to site. We are also having the pre-con with USDA tomorrow afternoon. So in parallel to all what I just described happening, USDA is proceeding with doing the pre-con with us to go through a list of items that we have yet to receive, but we're anticipating getting a receipt from USDA of what the agenda is for the pre-con that we are having tomorrow. And then after that, notice to proceed, pre-con, we are aiming to have fence delivered potentially Saturday, and I would anticipate that the bringing the equipment to site would be more toward next week, the beginning of next week, just to make sure that there's some time for all the other stars to align for them to be delivering the equipment to site. And when I'm saying all the other stars aligning, the things that are going on with HCI We have application to building permit and the application for the IOR. The board will be reviewing the IOR contract here in this meeting. Once we get the contract executed, we already have the application for IOR circulating, ready to be signed. That can be signed. And then the application for building permit and IOR application can go into HCI. The skids have been greased with HCI. They know that this is coming down the pipe and that we're looking for their response as quickly as they can. They have told us it's 1 to 2 weeks that they expect to be able to turn that around. But they also have been very responsive. Linda sent a very nice email to them and they were very responsive. So a couple of them responded saying, you know, we want to support the project. And so we're hopeful they'll turn this around quickly. And as soon as they turn around, keep in mind that the way that the notice to proceed is written is such that Monley Hamlin can mobilize, just can't start the work related to the construction, such as grading, before we have our permit. And so they can bring the fence, they can bring the trailer, they can bring equipment, you know, so that's why I'm saying I think that it makes sense to anticipate them bringing the equipment next week in anticipation of also getting the building permit issued from HCI. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that all sounds good.
And then as far as the permitting, so as you know, we have HCI approval of increment 4, which is the site work. And that's what we're referring to when I'm saying we're looking for the permit. So that's the one that we're looking for from HCI as soon as we can get those applications in and they can respond to those. Increment 1 is again the building, the hospital side of the building, shell and core. And we have those comments currently back from HCI, and those are anticipated to go back into HCI for their re-review in the beginning of September. Increment 2 is the shell and core of the SNF, and that one is due from HCI with their comments on August 25th. And increment 3 is all of the tenant improvements within the total building. And we are in receipt of HCI comments of those and have had them for a little bit. And the design team is responding with those due to go back in this week. So with that, I can take any questions.
Questions, board members?
Sounds like it's moving forward.
Yeah, it sounds all good news so far, knock on wood. Shelley, any questions from you?
Nope, not at this time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Donna. Really appreciate that update. And good to hear that we're getting there.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to back to item number 5. Resolution number 447, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Seneca Healthcare District authorizing execution and delivery by the district of an installment sale agreement, trust agreement, and an assignment agreement with respect to the execution and delivery of certificates of participation 2024 healthcare system improvement project in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $31,642,471. That would amount to. All right. Steve, you want to maybe give us a little bit of a background to all of this and kind of how we ended up with it being arranged in this manner?
Yeah. So this narrative will cover both items 5 and 6, since the way that they're presented to you is individual resolutions based upon the nature of the debt instrument that you all are authorizing. But together they fund our project. So about a year ago, almost coming up on a year, we received our original letter of condition from the USDA for funding. And at that time, they provided funding of $24,901,000 in the COPs, which is certificates of participation, which is item 5. And they authorized or made a loan commitment of 42 million on the general obligation notes. And that was a total debt financing of 66,901,000. All of that was predicated on the Bolt estimates for the construction and for the cost of the project. And it was actually lower than what we had originally asked for. We had asked for almost 29 million, again, based upon the Bolt figures. They only gave us the 24,901. So we proceeded along, and then, as you guys know, through the narrative, there was an issue with the Bolt bid, and I don't need to go into the details on that, but ultimately, we transitioned the nature of the project, and Bolt stepped away from the project. We went out to bid this past spring. We received the bid that would have fit in with our budget, but then the bid was withdrawn. So we went back to bid again, and this time we did receive acceptable bids, but they added almost $9 million to the cost of the project. So we went back to the USDA and said, okay, here's where we're at. And we said, we need just under $9 million. And so we said, can you guys do plus or minus $7 million in debt? And then we'll put up another two million in owner's equity or applicant contribution. So that was approved, and what that led to was it led to our project budget now being $80,500,000, and some additional costs, the way that we structured it, the way that Fieldman Roll-Up and Piper Sandler worked with Western Alliance Bank, that we were going to have just a little over $2 million in funded interest. And then we had bond issuance costs of just over $1 million. This led us to a total project cost, construction period costs of $83,700,000. So in order to meet that, USDA increased their funding commitment to $73,642,000, and Seneca is now contributing just over $10 million to the project. So the only thing that's really changed over time are two things. One is the additional owner's contribution by Seneca from the original 8 million to now just over 10 million, and the funding commitment of the USDA from the just under 67 million, 66,901,000 to now the total 73,642,471. Questions or comments or discussion?
I'm just pleased that the USDA is being a good partner with us and helping us to be able to fund this whole project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too. I couldn't take any more rejection. Nor could the rest of us. So that's what we're at. And now we have specific documents in front of you. Again, there's 2 resolutions that relate to the individual debt instruments or debt vehicles. The conditions of participation, which is the first resolution we're going to talk about, and then the GO notes resolution. And on the call, we have the representatives from Best Vesting Krieger, our legal counsel, our bond counsel on this project. We both have Jennifer Bradley and Murnau Shaw. And I don't know, ladies, who wants to say anything or just want to field questions, it's up to you guys how you want to handle this.
Sure, I'd be happy, sorry, the lighting in this office is horrible. So hopefully that's a little bit better, but I'd be happy to provide an overview of both of the financings, the certificates of participation. Essentially what they're doing is it's a structure that's authorized under the law that allows you to enter into an installment sale agreement to purchase the project, and the certificates represent the basically the IOU back to the bank of the monies that you will owe the bank on a scheduled basis. They're in accordance with the term sheet that was included in there. The trust agreement governs the terms and conditions under which the monies will be held by the trustee bank and how the district can requisition it. In the assignment agreement, there's a counterparty that's a corporation, a nonprofit public financing corporation will assign its rights to receive the monies to the bank. And there's also a purchase agreement which sets forth the terms and conditions under which the certificates of participation will be purchased. You have in the resolution the appointment of your professional team. And I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
So Jennifer, this is Jerry. I have a question, just, I don't remember which document I read this in, but there were some references to the holding bank, I believe, being able to invest this money. And then there was also some disclaimer in there about them not being responsible for any losses. And so I wanted to ask about that and how that works and if it's something that we should be concerned about.
The investments are done at the direction of the district. So what we do is prepare instructions of the district, instructing the trustee to invest in certain funds and accounts. So it's within the control of the district.
And can you possibly point me to which document I need to look at to review that again?
It would be in the trust agreement.
So not the installment sale. Certificate of purchasing. Let's see. If other board members have other questions, please feel free while I'm trying to look at this. What's this one right here? Thank you, Deborah. Guys have other questions?
I guess I'm not fully understanding this document, Exhibit B, which is good faith estimates. And when I read this, I'm just wondering, I guess, just somebody explain this to me, walk me through it a little bit.
Sure, Adam and Jason, would you like to explain the numbers? And I could provide the overview. Statutorily, in order to be transparent, the state enacted provisions which require any debt to instrument to be accompanied by a good faith estimate so that the board is aware of the maximum principal amount, the true interest costs of any financing charges, and essentially the total cost of the financing. And Fieldman Roll-Up, as the district's municipal advisor, prepared this. And then just quickly on the trust agreement, it's section 7.02, which has the written instructions.
Yeah,
for
it's
okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, I do see that now. I think it's been modified. It says under direction of the district, the trustee shall invest the objective monies in committed investments. Okay, thank you.
And so Adam, do you want to talk about the specifics? I think you're on mute.
Ms. Shaw has explained the need and the requirement to have the good faith estimates in there. What we've done for each of the transactions is provided those figures. And so the finance charge takes into consideration all the financing, that interest costs or certificates. I think that, pretty self-explanatory there. And then the principal amount that we're looking to issue. You also have some not to exceed amounts, which generally have some cushion in them. These do not. These are, as the time when we ran the numbers, the closest estimates we'd have to what the financing would cost.
That's helpful. I guess what I'm trying to get a sense of is, in a worst case scenario, how does that work? Interest rates go way up, we're locked into a certain rate where we can't exceed that. Is that what you're saying to us?
Yeah, so I think Ms. Shaw can explain the not to exceed parameters, which are really those are what are meant for the worst case scenario. So worst case scenario is, rates got really high tomorrow and we look up and say we're above the thresholds and the not to exceed amounts. We'd have to make a decision on what to do. It would likely in that scenario be go back to the board and ask for some direction. But this page, the section B, what it's focused on is just estimates of what we think we could do if we priced a deal the day we submitted these documents. And so this really is not the worst case scenario page. It's really the not to exceed parameters in the resolution that establish the worst case scenario.
So that's in section 9 of this resolution.
Well, that's helpful, I suppose. It's language I'm not accustomed to considering.
So right here, if you look on page 3, that you saw a much lower number there in our good faith estimates. If I remember, it was 2.74, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And then here you see 7%. So there's cushion in this to say, to the extent that things started to go really poorly in the municipal market, we would have some cushion between what our real estimate is and what the actual highest amount is.
That's helpful. Thank you.
And then, just to clarify too, that if our project goes beyond the term that's set in here, then as I read this, our interest rate would be reset and it would apply to the entire amount, not just whatever, yeah. Is that correct, Adam?
Ms. Shaw, I'm not sure. You want to answer that question?
Yeah, so yes, I believe that's correct, because you're going to have an initial term by which the project is anticipated to be finished. With the USDA will take out the financing once the project is substantially complete. But if there's a delay, Western Alliance Bank has agreed to allow for an extension of the term of the interim financing, but the rate will be reset for whatever amounts have been drawn and will be drawn. So if it's reset, and you've only drawn 50%, it would be reset on that 50%, and then moving forward on the additional amounts that would be drawn. So
basically the whole amount, right?
yeah, and then that would be taken out by the permanent USDA loan once the project's substantially complete.
Well, but I'm not sure I see that, because if we owe more interest, they've already said how much they're gonna leave on our loans, so we would have to come up with that additional amount of money, correct?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
So say worst case scenario, we end up going into our extension period or whatever the phrase was for it.
Yes.
And then our interest rate is reassessed at market rates at that point in time across the entire project, say we owe, I don't know how much that we're even talking about in such an instance. Do we have some sort of an idea to give us? Like, would that be $100,000 maybe? Would that be $1 million? Like, I'm just trying to kind of get my brain wrapped around that, because that's something that we would have to fund, would be my understanding, since our USDA amount is already set.
So Adam,
Mhm.
I don't have that number. I'll ask Adam and Jason to take a look.
Keep in mind also that there's liquidated damages if they go, if the project goes beyond the 900-something days. That, what is it, 10,000 a day that we're also getting in return from Molly Hamlin. So there's an offset there, but it'd be nice to know how it pencils.
Yeah. So Adam, I don't know if you can give us, because I saw that the rate that it's based on for the extension period, it was phrased differently than our initial rate, like what it was based off of. So I don't know if we can see what the spread is between that, so we get kind of an idea.
Jason, are you able to pull up the language on the difference if there's an overrun on costs?
Well, I do have the preliminary number run that was used to provide these good faith estimates, and it calculates the 3-month rolling interest for the whole balance of the COPs. So about paying interest for 3 months on 31.6 million would be about $434,000. So if you want to break that down to just an additional month, and this, again, this could change based on what the new reset rate would be, but it would be approximately 140,000.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
helpful.
And then 1,000 a day.
Right.
So you figured
Well, that's assuming that it's the contractor's reason why
if
we
it's
have to
there,
extend,
right? if it's their
right?
fault.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions? Comments?
The district is responsible for the investment. Is that?
Is responsible for directing how the funds can be invested.
And how will that work?
Steve, do you have any conversation around?
We have not yet. It'll be held by the bank's trust entity. Western Alliance Bank, their trust entity will administer all of the funds.
And if we allocate any of those for investment, do we split the returns?
No, you keep the returns.
The returns.
We're also responsible for the loss.
Right, well, there's only certain things we can invest in anyway. That have to be pretty safe anyway. So.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Shelley, any questions?
Nope, not at this time. Thank you.
I did want to make a comment that one of these documents does list Shelley as the secretary to sign and needs to be modified to Ken.
We will modify that. Thank you for noting that.
Thank you for that. And another of them also had August 1st kind of throughout it instead of August 12th. I don't know if that's an issue or not, but I did see that our resolution allows for modifications like that after, so.
So typically in financing documents, we date them the first date of the month in which we close. And since we're anticipating closing at the end of this month, they're dated August 1st.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, I appreciate all the time and effort that's gone into all this, because I can tell that this has been quite the process on everyone's part. And I want to thank you all for assisting us through all this process too. Both BDK and also Piper Sandler. Thank you very much for all of your efforts helping us through this. Greatly.
Hillman Rollout.
Hillman Rollout, Piper Sandler, and Western Alliance. Yeah,
Yes.
everybody, the whole gang.
Well, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be on this journey. It's really exciting that the project's coming to fruition and, the financing is almost in place now, so.
We can't wait to see the grand opening.
So we have, after this, we have two more items, so I don't anticipate, well, there might be some questions about the tax levy, but I don't anticipate any questions about the bond, so if everyone could stay on until we get through all the items, appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And as far as our actual wording for the approval, I already read the resolution, so we just need to have an approval for the actual resolution itself, not necessarily each of these individual documents. Is that correct?
That's correct. There are 3 resolutions that you'll have to approve. So one for the certificates of participation, one for the GO, and then one for the tax levy.
Great, thank you. Okay, hearing no other questions at this time, I would accept a motion to approve resolution number 447.
So moved.
Thank you, Rich. Do I have a second?
No second.
Thank you, Ken. All in favor, Rich?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Thank you. So that brings us on to item number 6, resolution number 448. Resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of its general obligation notes, election of 2022 series 2024 in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $42 million. And we'll open up for discussion. Questions, comments? Oh, that's surprising. For everything to add on this one?
Does the board understand that this debt will be serviced through the,
Tax levy.
through the authorized, voter authorized ad valorem tax? It is.
Yep. Right. Thank you. With that, I will accept the motion to approve resolution number 448.
I move approval of resolution 448.
Thank you, Sherry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. Do I have all in favor? Ken?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Sherry?
Yes.
Rich?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Okay, I move this on to resolution number 449, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Seneca Healthcare District requesting the setting of 2024-25 property tax rates for general obligation notes. Open for discussion. I like seeing it outlined for the supporting document for this. That was very helpful for me. Okay, no questions?
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 449.
Okay. You want a moment, Rich? Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Rich?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye.
Just so when we get the question, when we will, or when we do, Jason?
Yes.
This tax levy will be on the tax bills, if you will, of the homeowners this fall, is that correct? That'll be the first time they see it?
That is correct. We are delivering this executed resolution by their September 1st deadline. The county will then approve their county resolution adopting tax rates throughout the whole county in mid-September. And we expect the first property tax bills to be distributed on October.
Get that clarification. Thank you. Because you're right, we will get that question. All right, let's see, next up, we have item number 8, new critical access hospital skilled nursing facility award, inspector of record.
Yes, so we've had this on the agenda several times, so I think you've seen all of these items previously. The ask of the board is per the wording on the agenda, and bottom line is we're looking for approval to proceed to contract with SBS as our inspector of record, as well as, and just to be clear, that entity will be serving as both IOR and resident inspector as required by USDA. So IOR as required per HCI, resident inspector as required by USDA. And so this SBS has reviewed the contract that's also before you for review, and they are accepting of all of the terms inclusive of both of those roles under the same fee that's outlined in this document that you're seeing. And we're looking for board approval to proceed to contract.
Now, Donna, do we need to read all of the verbiage on the agenda for this item?
As you do the motion, that would be appreciated, just because we just want to make sure that we have the ability to have any further legal input on any tweaking of just legalese, not base content.
Board members, questions, comments? I know we've seen these documents several meetings. I don't think anything has changed since we last saw them, right, Donna?
No.
Any questions, comments, board members? Okay, does someone want to make a motion that includes the verbiage under item number 8? Please.
I'll try. I move we approve item 8, which is the new critical access hospital / skilled nursing facility award of inspector of record, as presented in the agenda.
And mind including the verbiage underneath that item as well?
Which, the whole paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay, requesting board consideration approval of authorization with respect to the Seneca Healthcare District Replacement Critical Access Hospital + Skilled Nursing Facility Project to District Chief Executive Officer or designee to enter into contract approved by District Legal Counsel and District Executive Officer or designee, awarding Inspector of Record Services contract to Strategic Building Services, otherwise known as Contractor, for the value of $798,728, all in a form approved by District Legal Counsel and District Chief Executive Officer or designee.
Thank you. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second it.
Thank
You have to read it again.
Easy for me.
All in favor, Shelley,
Aye.
Ken,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Sherry,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Thank you. And would it be okay to ask one more quick question about the financing piece that I mentioned earlier? Has to do with, the draws. I saw that we have to have the USDA approve us receiving those draws. I also saw written in there that the bank can let us have the draws on the assumption that the USDA is going to provide approval, but it also said something in there about the assumption being that the USDA would compensate them in some way. Do we know anything about that?
So I can speak to the draw. So the draws and the requisitions are a little bit different. The draws will be done on a fixed schedule, and those will be automatically deposited by Western Alliance into a fund that they hold as trustee for the district to be able to use to finance the project. So that'll be on a fixed schedule, but the requisitions, so then for the district to be able to requisition funds from that account, that has to be approved by USDA.
Okay, and if it isn't approved within the time frame requested by the bank in order to give it to us when we need to pay our vendors, how does that work?
You know, I'm not sure about that portion of the USDA process of approval.
We don't anticipate that happening because the draws that, when we take the draws and put them into Western Alliance's trust will be done in advance. So at closing, we're gonna receive a draw and there'll be money in the account. So anything that we incur, and it's on a quarterly basis, so anything we incur to that quarter, theoretically, we've already pre-funded, we have it pre-funded and the payments will be made. And that's where that whole investment thing will come into play, because if we, you know, we wanna make sure we have the money, and so we might over ask a little bit and then have money sitting in there. But it shouldn't be a great deal of money, and it shouldn't stay there for an extended period of time, so.
We have yet to see the USDA's, you know, reporting that they want us to.
That was my
We have
next
yet to see it. It's supposed to have come in, hopefully today. But it doesn't seem like it's funded. They just want to see what the burn is against the funding,
Yeah, but they have to approve your requisition. I
They
assume it must be
absolutely,
listed
are
for
very
that.
clear about that.
right?
They have a form and everything. These guys don't care because when, not more now, but Western Alliance doesn't care because they've given
they've
us the
done it.
money and then it's up to us to comply with the process for asking them to actually make disbursements out of it to the contractors, et cetera.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me that I meant to ask earlier. Thank you for clarifying. All right, so we want to move back to our agenda. Item number 10, radiology department ultrasound ROI rate.
Thank you. Two things to point out in the beginning, the watermark should not be there. And I should have put the Canon brand. This is the model number of the Canon. So it is the unit that you approved in our last board meeting. So I think Jerry could point that out. This is so this is more than an ROI. This is a little bit of a backstory of unit we have, unit we're getting. The services that we offer in the past, the services that we have in the future. So it's a combination of both. It's a document that I've used before. And so two things looking at is the document information and making sure that no matter who the reader is, you can pull out what the need is. And so in this one, although it does have the previous unit and where that's at in the life and the current unit and the benefited features that it would bring to the table. Also the expanded services, and when you get back to the volume and some of the numbers, you can see that as a, and this is pretty standard, as clinic volumes or services, clinical services, grow. And the ancillary services, and this is radiology, also grow because these are diagnostic tools that the providers use. So as more volume, those grow. And when you look at the two graphs between volume and ultrasound services are the two that I put side to side, is you can see a quantitative correlation of it. It's not proven, you have to run the numbers on it. But you can see by the stats that the volume that is growing, that our numbers are growing also. That's why I said perceived, because I haven't run the stats on it. And then when you look at the payer mix, just so you can see what kind of payer mix ultrasound services have. And then Steve helped me with the numbers, making sure that from the ROI, basically for this service line with the current numbers that we've put down, it's about 8.4 months you're paying for that piece of equipment. Also, the first piece of equipment was donated. So really your ROI on that one, so that's positive from a business lens. So anyway, this is the document. This is the setup of the document. And the two things are, one, does it make sense? And two, is it enough information that no matter who the reader is, could understand kind of the perspective? That's what I hope to gain. And so I'll open it up for questions.
Well, this is very clear, Ray.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's very.
Well, it was a team effort. Everybody swung at it so we could provide a good document.
Question for me is how much does have improved equipment, better equipment, more accurate, assist with recruitment? I would think that would be a significant factor.
Well, when you look at, if you're looking at recruitment from the technician can only, the technician's skills are only to a certain point, and then it depends on the equipment itself, on what they can see and all of that. So that's one. From a provider standpoint, trust, yeah, these are diagnostic tools that they need to make, healthcare calls. So I mean, it's no different than old facility to new facility. same thing is that if the technician's skills can get them a certain view or certain image so they can make the diagnostic call, when it comes to radiology, it's about clarity, it's about, what they can see. So these devices, helps tremendously that we are staying current. I mean, there's technology way beyond this in the ultrasound realm, but for us, this is a good tool for that. So it's big.
Okay, I just remember years ago having an MRI on the knee or something, and the doctor ordered it, was totally disgusted with it and
Yeah.
referred me someplace else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to remember that experience, that wasn't here, but, it seems to me that
Yeah, it's.
you want to have good reliable tools.
You have ownership in the other place, Lisa. Just kidding. No, that tends to be an interesting thing. The nice thing about this unit also is if we ever get into the echo world, the echocardiography world for heart, the system's capable of doing it. It's a tech thing at that point, where if we wanted to start doing cardiac studies and things to that effect, it's expandable. So
Yeah.
these are our services that we can do today. The device will not be a hindrance to expanded services. It'll be a technology issue. Because there is a specialty trained technology that does echo, but knowing that it will, everything that we have selected for the new facility, and this will be a new facility. We can grow into that technology. It's not gonna truncate us in our ability to provide additional services.
And then, two fun facts. So January through June, and this goes along with, kind of recruitment. Is that, we did a total of 106 studies. 82 of those studies was ordered from our providers. So we're getting outside providers because this is the closest place are ordering for services here. Now, the second question, which I have, is leakage. So we're still dialing in of how many do we order that are done at other places. So I haven't got that number. And then Steve,
How do you get that number?
we can just see there's an authorization pool, so we
Yeah.
can see everything because we have to get authorizations and stuff. So we can get that number based on what's coming in and we have to schedule them. That's a pretty
Gotcha.
easy one. Steve helped me with this one. So our budget number in here for 2023-2024 was 92. And then the budget number was for 24-25 was 250. Well, in 2023-2024, actual was 149 studies. So we can kind of see what's been going on, but those are the details as we get into Cerner and we get all the data, we got a ton of data and really understand the power of it. We'll be able to present this style of document with that kind of data so that you have all the information you would need.
There's one thing I just had this discussion last night with a number of residents and asking, they were saying they had to go to Chico or they had to go to Reno for various scans and tests and stuff. And I was kind of like, well, we have MRI that comes here. We have the ability to do these things here. Why are you going? And it was lack of confidence in our antiquated equipment. And they felt that newer equipment, like you're talking about, clearer images, that type of thing was extremely important to them. And I think we need to invest in this upgrade of equipment and really publicize it so people understand that, we have a new unit,
Yeah.
state of the art unit type
Well,
thing.
the one thing that's really difficult to fight against, you just can't do it, is when somebody gets a diagnostic study here, it could be done on the best equipment in the entire world. But based upon the relationship of the physician that's treating you, wherever they may be, a lot of them have relationships or financial gain to, so the concept of quality is very subjective in that regard.
Sure.
Because they can say this is a terrible image when it's absolutely beautiful. It does get gained, them just putting out the reality of the world there, and you're not gonna control that. It's really,
No, and
like the MRI, is a very good example. We have a 1.5 Tesla short bore. Now it's, I think it's a Wyoming channel.
Yeah.
It's as good as anything you're gonna get down there.
But to Sherry's point, as we're investing in this new equipment, we should be publicizing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a plan for that.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of,
This
you know,
is-
people listen to their doctors.
Well, especially they're starting their tax bills, now, right?
Right.
Start getting their tax bills in October, we need
Yeah.
to have already been telling them how well we've been investing the money
Yeah.
already.
Already.
And here's where you can see that when we're giving them the
Preparation for it.
services, right? Yes, yes.
It surprises me so much there's still secondary review when somebody claims it's not good enough.
There is.
There is.
Yeah, they look at it and go, that's terrible. That's the secondary review.
Well, What I'm
That's
getting
when
to
you
is
say-
somebody say,
Yeah,
You
third
have
party,
numbers
yeah,
that
party,
illustrate-
right.
third party looks at it and goes, this is beautiful.
Yeah, and like a radiology group, that we have, or any of the groups. Not only do the radiologists in their own peer review look at different studies and look at quality and all that stuff, they have a system called that. A randomized polling of studies to look at, and either it's clarity or it's misreading. And so in the MedStat process, they have that peer review process, and it really, older equipment, it really, because you get an old piece of equipment. That's at end of life versus some of this new technology, especially in that space. It's like night and day. AI is actually coming out in radiology, and has been for the last probably 5 years. And it really helps get clarity in, you know, in the result of the image and steps. So that's it's kind of interesting.
no, it is.
That's where the big money is in
Yeah.
that piece of equipment, so that's why.
Well, and truthfully, we all know sometimes public perception is not representative of the actual fact,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the key is being able to change that perception.
Yeah.
Brady, Brady, this is Shelley. Thank you for that. I do have a question about the ROI of 8.4 months. Does that include if we slow down because we're going into fall right now? So is that still an accurate picture?
That's-
8.4 months?
Yeah, that's off the budget number of the 2025, budget, the 240. So if you take the that number plus the expenses plus the machine
Mhm.
and divide that in there, that's
Okay.
8.4.
Okay.
So if
Alright.
so you would be correct if we didn't hit 240. So if we were less than that, then that could be 10 months, or if we did more than that, that could be less than.
Right. Okay.
Still, an ROI of less than 3 years on a piece of medical imaging equipment
Yeah.
is quite,
Yeah, that's pretty good. So will the unit itself be able to send pictures or send the reports to other facilities, to other private physicians?
does now.
Yeah, the unit, and Brian's here, so can help me out on this. The unit sends to Medware. Medweb.
Yeah.
And then that unit can go to our radiologist, and then we've hooked up with Enlo.
Ambra.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then BA and Renown are on the list, got a good guy.
Yeah, so there's other cloud services when it comes to radiology images that we can push and send, or they can retrieve,
Okay.
that we're already connected with.
Okay. All right, got it. Okay, awesome. Exciting.
you.
Thank you.
And the expenses, what's in the expenses?
Heck,
So,
Lou,
yeah, the tech, small disposables,
The tech meeting, how many days is the tech?
three days of the tech. So currently, right now, the tech's expenses is 1 day with all the disposables and the equipment. So that would be 3 days. And that's loaded, so it's benefited and hourly rate in there, plus the disposables.
Okay, and we really think we can keep a tech busy for 3 days?
Yes, because in the numbers that we're currently doing, we're booking, so how she books is every day she's doing 6 studies. And that gives her space to pull in some ERs. And so we've been the last, there's enough volume through the numbers that we're looking at to book all of that.
How does scheduling?
So right now, there's an authorization and utilization pool that Charlene's team, there's a person up there that does the authorization plus schedules. And so we can see what's coming in, all those orders that are coming in, and as you book them out, it fills up those days.
So what if we don't fill up? Does she still come?
She still comes because then she would start helping with scheduling. So we have one person to do the authorization pools, and so if she has any downtime other than educating the providers of what services that she can do, she's gonna be helping, talking with the patients about scheduling. So it's a twofold thing, yeah.
Building it. Trying to build the service line. Everybody's being responsible for building their service line now. So it's not just a matter of coming in and scanning any longer. I think the entire
Yeah,
philosophy is that in your area, you're responsible for building onto your area, building your service line. That's education of the doctors. That's availability, that's understanding, hey, what are we not doing that you'd like to see done? Can we do it with this device, those types of things. Service line is let's build your own business.
And training, you know,
well, yeah.
if someone identifies a need, then, yeah.
Do we have a backup in case this person is not available?
we do not have a backup. We do have people inquiring, ultrasound techs inquiring for per diem positions, but we have not stepped that far yet. Cause that would mean more investment, you know, what I always like to do is when I'm, you know, involved in building and service lines is get that, you know, don't build it and they'll come. You get the volume first and then you go for it. So it's like the flywheel. And you get things going and the providers realize they get results back in the studies. And then they're like, well, we can order more here. The public says, yeah, we'll go here. And then when, like this is step one in this service line, maybe someday we'll have 5 days a week and we'll need more than one test capacity. But you start first and get it going. And then usually the good word creates more volume, but you don't want to extend out on the expense.
I understand that, but if something were to happen to this individual and we're getting our program
Yeah,
going.
then we have to have a
I
backup
mean, do
plan.
we have it with Enlo or anywhere else where somebody could fill in?
Well, we can have per diems, we could post and get per diems, we could reach out to, I mean, there are agencies that have ultrasound techs. I mean, there's all of those tools you can do. If she takes vacation right now, because we control the schedule, so we
Yeah, I
maneuver
get
that
the things.
schedule.
Things that are planned, I understand,
Yeah.
but the unplanned.
Now, the other thing, the unplanned, so let's say she schedules 6 a day, which are scheduled cases, and she's on vacation. The things that are unplanned, which are more ER driven, like, hey, but now we're introducing butterfly. And so that's gonna take up more, you know, diagnostic tools that she can help with, but they will because it's point of care testing. So there's a couple things to bridge the gap, but that's the next phase.
I think maybe Rich's concern is if the tech is ill,
Right. Well, I mean,
Well,
that kind of unexpected.
it's really.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if the tech is ill, we have to reschedule. Now, it's not ideal, but you can have per diem people if we can find per diem people, but on the other side is you can, you know, if we hired another part-time person, now that's more expense. And so for this fiscal year, with the volume that we have, when you look at everything and kind of the commitment that as I'm, you know, doing this with the team, I don't want to get over my skis on the other side. So I think this is a good step forward. There are always those, it's just like our MRI that doesn't show up in the wintertime. You know, there's always those risks that as we go and the volume's there, not to say 6 months down the road, I may be coming back saying, we're now booked out. Yeah, we need to go 5 days, we need to get a second tech. So that's all, I mean, if we're doing it right, we're dealing with these good problems, but yeah, that's a risk right now. Or if the brand new machine goes down too, I mean, I've had that happen. Yeah,
Now, when we talk about future services like Echo, how far in the future does that have to be?
Get a cardiologist up here to start, and we're working on that to start doing clinic.
Do the cardiologists have their own Echo in their office?
Some do.
Yeah, I know some do, but
yeah.
the ones that we're dealing with, do they?
Some have it, depends on the
It's
test.
expensive.
Yeah, it depends on the test. Some of them have it in, well, some of them had it in their office. They're all hospital-based doctors now, where the hospitals have taken over such services, but, yeah, that's between now and when the new hospital opens up, these are the strategic discussions we have to talk about because of the services we'll need for that, but
Yeah, but as Jerry mentioned, when people start paying higher taxes, they want to know where their money is going, knowing there's a building to be built
yeah.
a few years, but services that we could move towards.
Yeah, expanded orthopedic services are happening right now. You know, tomorrow we're doing certain procedures that we haven't done in a long time here. So there are all those services that as we go forward, will expand and our surgeons will have more confidence in our facilities and all of that stuff. But yeah, and we have to be able to communicate just as we're doing our provider communication now. So those are all good points.
Brady, does the cost of equipment, the $95,550, does that include the Cerner interface?
There is no Cerner interface
It's
with
MedWeb.
this. It's a workless modality that comes out of the PAC system, and a DICOM feed, so it's because it's a one-for-one replacement, it's
Okay.
relatively easy to
Okay.
follow.
It's a very standard interface also
Okay.
used throughout the industry.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Any other questions? Comments? Then I would accept a motion to approve expanding ultrasound services expanding ultrasound services from 1 day a week to 3 days a week. And the staff required for that.
I will make the motion to expand it, 1 day to 3 days,
Including acquisition of the.
including acquisition.
Reacquisition of the new eye, the Amplio, right?
I'm sorry.
No, including the device.
Oh,
Device,
we
yeah.
already approved. So, at our last-
We have,
our last
did we?
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, we did, we approved it
We approved the device, just
a
not.
long time ago, just not the expansion.
Do I have a second? Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor, Shelley,
Aye.
Rich,
Hi.
Sherry,
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Thank you, Brady, and team for putting that together. Right, next is closed session. Do we have closed session for today?
Yeah.
We do, okay. So we're gonna be in closed session, conference with legal counsel, pursuant to government code, section 54956.9, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. And we're adjourned to closed session.
Questions for me?
All right, closed session is closed. We're back in open session. There were no reportable actions taken during closed session. Our next, excuse me, regular board meeting will be on August 29th at 3 p.m. here in the conference room, and meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good.
Thank you.